A big reversal in a $7.2 million fraud case in Hennepin County. The judge has thrown out the jury's guilty verdict. This is a case Lou Raguse has been following since the beginning. The judge's actions could make it harder to prosecute state fraud cases in the future. Lou?
Julie, it's extremely rare for a judge to reverse a jury's verdict in a criminal case. Jurors I spoke to today told me it was not a difficult decision to find Abdi Fattah Yusuf guilty in a Medicaid billing scheme, and they're surprised by this development.
At the August trial for Abdi Fattah Yusuf, the jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company Promise Health out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located. Yusuf and his wife Lol Ahmed were charged with stealing $7.2 million of taxpayer money through Medicaid overbilling in a personal care assistant or PCA scam. The couple allegedly spent tens of thousands of the fraud money on luxury items for themselves. Despite the jury swiftly convicting Yusuf, Judge Sarah West last week decided they got it wrong.
It's reversing or overturning a jury's verdict.
Defense attorney Joe Tamburino, who's not affiliated with this case, reviewed the decision and analyzed it for KARE 11 News. He says Judge West ruled that the state's case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence and that she believed the state did not rule out other reasonable inferences.
That in fact there could have been other reasonable theories other than guilt in this case. That's what it comes down to.
Despite the ruling, even Judge West wrote that she is troubled by the manner in which fraud was able to be perpetuated at Promise Health.
I was stunned.
State Representative Kristen Robbins, chair of the House Fraud Prevention and State Oversight Committee, says she's now reviewing if any state laws need to be tightened.
We want to strengthen state law so that we can get prosecutions out of these cases, because clearly a jury thought he was guilty.
Jurors in the case can't believe the decision.
I am shocked. I'm shocked based off of all of the evidence that was presented to us and the obvious guilt that we saw based off of the said evidence. It was not a difficult decision whatsoever. The deliberation took probably 4 hours at most. Based off of the state's evidence that was presented, I was beyond a reasonable doubt.
The attorney for Mr. Yusuf, Ian Burrell, sent me a statement today that says, in part, Judge West's ruling affirms what we have maintained from the beginning, that our client, Mr. Yusuf, was wrongfully accused and did not commit fraud or racketeering. The Attorney General's office filed an appeal this afternoon, so the Minnesota Court of Appeals will take a second look at this decision. Julie.
So, Lou, did Mr. Tamburino, did he have any kind of emotional reaction? And this is pretty stunning. This does not happen.
Yeah, he leaned towards the idea that this was kind of a one-off and that it would have a good chance at appeal. But the worry is that there's so many other cases just like it where somebody's in the exact same position as Mr. Yusuf but is charged with fraud. And if the judge can determine that maybe they didn't know that the fraud was going on underneath them in the case, then other judges could throw it out just like this one.
All right. Do you know how quickly the Court of Appeals would take this up? Any idea?
Probably months.
All right. Thank you, Lou.